What's up everybody? Welcome back to my channel. I am Justin Colby, and on this video, we are going to be talking about what potential real estate markets could be taking the very biggest hit towards the end of this year, moving into 2022. Check it out. What's up everybody? Welcome back to this channel. I'm Justin Colby, of course, and on this channel we do three things. We talk business, real estate, and entrepreneurship. And obviously the topic right now is all these forbearances and mortgage foreclosures. And so I'm taking the time now, did a bunch of research to give you a little heads up of potentially what cities and states are going to take the biggest hit for foreclosures going into 2022. Make sure to check this out. Also, if this is your first time on my channel, this is the first random video that you have come across, make sure you are liking it and make sure you subscribe to my channel, as I drop 3 videos a week talking all things business, real estate, and entrepreneurship. And make sure that notification bell is clicked so you can get notifications when I drop these videos. All right, let's jump in. All right, so if you haven't seen one of my most recent videos about this whole foreclosure moratorium, I want to make sure you go check this out because it'll give you a little bit of insight of why I'm shooting this video for you guys. The reality is this: all of this stuff is an unknown. I'm doing my very best to do as much research as I can to kind of come up with, whether it be Zillow or Realty Track or Atom Data or any of the reports on CNN or MSNBC, any of those. I'm trying to give you the up-to-date data of what potentially is going to happen. And as you guys know, I'm heavily into real estate. I've done over 1,800 deals now in my 14-year career, and so I'm always trying to figure out what are the markets I want to be going in. I'm currently actually in 6 different states and 8 different cities. And quick little plug, if you're interested in learning how to wholesale and flip virtually, as well as maybe pour gas on your business and really scale your business, simply go over to thescienceofflipping.com, fill out a very easy form. Some of my top advisors will get with you to see if I'm the right coach for you and if I can help you get to where you want to go. So there's my plug, scienceofflipping.com. All right, so back to the data is I'm trying to also do my research for my own business about what markets are going to be hit. Now, here's what I know to be true. Most people who have not done some research are probably going to say things like Nevada, Florida, Arizona as top states that they think are going to be hit. And for the most part, I can understand why, right? Arizona being such a tourist heavy state with Las Vegas, that seems to make sense because you would think unemployment is at an all-time high. And I'm going to give you some of this data to support what I'm talking about here shortly. You'd also make the argument for Florida because, well, Florida took a massive hit back in the crash of 2008, and also the tourism of Orlando and Disney. And so those are some states that people would think of. Arizona, on the simple idea of it took probably the largest hit back in the crash. So I think there's a lot of concepts that those 3 states are probably going to take a massive hit. And then other people are talking about states like New York and New Jersey because of the price point. So what I want to do is tell you guys about the 2 criteria that I was actually looking up to see what has the potential. And I use the word potential very intentionally, guys, because the reality is the government and banks are going to have a big play in whether this all unfolds. So right now, I'm going to give you the disclosure that none of this is certain, right? The best data that I can possibly find on the interweb is going to tell you this stuff. I tend to believe it and see that it has a lot of logic to it. But here's what's happening. The government's printing money at an all-time high rate. Never before have we ever printed this much money, which is going to cause a massive amount of inflation, which can absolutely change the narrative completely, and which makes the banks have to handle that inflation as well as potential unemployment. And what's going to happen is just It just is unknown, is what I'm trying to say. So stay with me here though, because I think you're gonna find this to be very, very interesting. So the 2 points that I was taking a look at is A, unemployment. That seems to be obvious. The places that are gonna be hit hardest are gonna be people that don't have money to pay their mortgage. The other is gonna be mortgage delinquencies, where over the last year and almost a half, year and 3 months at this point, are the states that have the highest mortgage delinquencies. Because again, logically, you would think those are going to be the states that are going to have the highest foreclosure ratio. Now, shocker, it's not the states that I previously mentioned. It actually isn't Nevada, Phoenix, or Arizona and Florida. It's actually some states that maybe you weren't thinking about. So based around Zillow's data that you can see here, it's the low income, high poverty states that are having the biggest mortgage delinquencies. States like West Virginia and Louisiana lead all 50 states in the highest mortgage delinquencies. Now that seems to make sense, which low income means they may not be paying their mortgage, but it for sure is not the states most people are thinking about. Now this is totally juxtaposition to the states that tend to be flourishing, which would be higher price point states like Washington, Oregon, California on the West Coast. Now, I can't fully draw a direct path on why the higher price point real estate states such as those on the West Coast are actually doing much better than those that I previously mentioned, but you would tend to think if someone can afford $1 million home and the vast majority are affording $1 million home, you would tend to think that the income is there to afford that. So some of that is the direct correlation. Now, I want to show you some data that is going to support the unemployment side here. Now here I want to show you guys some of the unemployment data per CNN. So these states are actual states that some you're gonna think, yeah, okay, that makes sense, such as Nevada is highlighted here, but then you're also gonna think some of these states, wow, that's kind of a shocker that there's such high unemployment here. The fact that DC, Washington DC is in the top 10 for highest unemployment is kind of a shocker. You'd also say Rhode Island, why would that be? Now Mississippi, Georgia, and Michigan, all of which kind of make sense. Now, as I've mentioned, Mississippi seems to be the hardest hit because of the income and unemployment. I would say as a whole, that state will take the biggest hit. But again, a lot of this is, assumptions that we are making based around the data I'm looking at. Now, I would tell you this, as someone who's been investing in real estate, you want to be looking at markets that are going to not take massive hits per se. You want some level of consistency. I don't love being in markets that have big appreciation swings and big depreciation swings. So for me, when I'm buying real estate for my own portfolio, for example, I'm in states that tend to stay pretty even. You're not going to have a big high or a big low. States like Indiana or Oklahoma. And they're not even in the top 10 of the highest unemployment states, period. So there's good job opportunity in these states, good industry in these states, and some of the criteria that I use that you may have seen on other videos that I talk about why I choose the cities I choose is because I look for major sports teams, major colleges, unemployment rate, and is any industry maybe moving into that area for cheaper labor or cheaper resources. Those type of markets to me are highly appealing. Now, if this all does come to fruition and these states that have mortgage delinquency as well as high unemployment, well, could those be good states to be able to buy properties when this all unfolds? Absolutely, right? But I would also tell you, based around other videos that I've shot, I would not try to judge the market, right? Don't catch a falling knife. You never know when the top is the top. You never know when the bottom is the bottom. So here's the deal, guys. We don't have any idea what's really going to happen, but if you want to keep caution about what states are going to be good states, I really highly suggest looking at states that, again, have good schools, major universities, good air forces or military, I should say. They have good industry coming to them. And quite honestly, you want to stay in markets that have some sort of industry that is continuing to grow. All in all, guys, I don't believe the banks or the government are going to have some major sweeping foreclosure crazy tsunami like a lot of people have talked about. because I just don't think the nation can handle it. And I don't think big government is good to come in and continue to print money. And so, listen, if you like any of this, if this is like, man, this is interesting, make sure you smash the like button. It is still gonna unfold. I am not certain of any of it, but I would tell you to watch those states as good opportunities to potentially buy some investment properties and be landlords yourself. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Again, make sure you're liking this, subscribing, and turning on your notifications, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.